Hello everyone, I am back, and what the hell has Konami done while I was gone? So, again, as I'm sure most of you are aware, if you picked up on the videos that are across the last number of weeks, I've currently been away, and while I've been away, a lot of things have happened, and the landscape of the game is drastically different to where I left it. I feel like Konami waited until I was out to come in and just torched my apartment what happened in my absence. Either way, we're going to have a brief cover off over most of the big changes that have happened since I've been away. Again, you've probably already seen all of this, so I'm not going to labor the point too much. This is just a video saying that we're back in business. You can be leaving your suggestions and everything down below, hopping in the Discord to chat to me, and we're going to get this ball rolling again like we did beforehand. So what are the big changes? So three things really that we want to briefly touch on. Number one is of course the new selection packs, bringing out the Mirror Jade, the Newborn Dragon, as well as a bunch of other really cool support for other archetypes. So you've got things like the branded support, which everyone was waiting on. We all knew that this was going to be massively powerful, especially in combination with Despia, but it also has a number of other practical applications outside of that particular deck. So we are going to be taking a look at some of the really cool variations and combinations you can do with the branded fusion spell card and its related fusion monsters. Branded fusion is basically a spell that allows you to summon out one of your branded dragons by using monsters in your deck as material. The only restriction really is that you can only use fusion monsters for the rest of the turn. So really, honestly, very light on the restrictions. If you were to compare this to the likes of Red Eyes Fusion, which completely stops you from summoning the turn you activate the card, this is relatively consequence free, and it allows you to summon out a bunch of very powerful boss monsters like Mirror Jade, the Iceblade Dragon, non-targeting quick play banish, as well as being able to set up your Guardian Chimera for follow-up. All of that's really cool. We've got some really neat Blue Eyes support as well, in the form of Blue Eyes Jet Dragon here, as well as Dictator of D, and a number of other kind of more fun options like the Tyrant Dragon. They're all really cool to be playing around with. We've got a lot of zombie support too, which I'm looking forward to testing as well as some other neat little cards thrown in here and there, like the Sinister Sovereign for Sword Souls, a bit of a neat addition, as well as the Borderland Dragon, a really powerful monster, probably a little hard to summon. Again, I'm going to be trying to build something around this guy just because it's so cool. Look at it. But yeah, lots of really cool stuff coming out here. We're going to very quickly test our luck. We're not setting for every single pack. We're just going to grab a few and skip. Looking good. What have we got? Pretty nice. Okay, so that's Branded Loss we didn't have, Labellion we didn't have, and the Borderland Dragon we didn't have. Awesome. So yeah, these are the types of cards we're looking at. Branded Loss is cool because it protects your fusion monsters on summon, so they're really nice. So that's the new pack. The new pack's going to have a lot of potential when it comes to new plays. It's already having a significant impact on the metagame. And the other thing that's having a significant impact on the metagame is, of course, the new ban list that was announced, offering up major changes. Number one, of course, cards to be forbidden. We're finally getting rid of Crystron Halki Fibrax. Needle Paper has needed to go for quite a while. It was either this guy or the Auroradon. I would have preferred they hit Auroradon, to be honest, but that's purely because Crystron Halk is a very powerful card in a lot of sort of like more fan servicey decks as well, like Buster Blader and things would be able to function fine with Halk but not Auroradon. But I mean, it is what it is. This is still going to drastically weaken a lot of that strategy, and that has been around for quite a long time, so honestly I can't be too upset by that. So Crystron Halk being gone is going to be a bit healthier for the game overall. Again, we'll see in the face of Branded if it sticks around. We do have a number of other cards being hit here. We have cards to be limited to one, the Water Enchantress. Again, another core staple card in the metagame being brought down. Again, it was already a 2. You're losing one copy of it, which is bad, but it's not the end of the world. You still have basically 3 starters for that engine instead of 4. It is what it is. So it's not the biggest of deals. Cards to be semi-limited. Now, this is the most interesting part of the list. Rivalry of Warlords, Gozen Match, And skipping ahead here to Red Reboot. So Rivalry of Warlords, Goes In Match, and Red Reboot really hitting Eldritch pretty hard here. So Rivalry and Goes In Match being brought down to 2, Red Reboot being boosted to 2. So Red Reboot, if Eldritch gets out of control, may even see a little bit of play. So I'll be looking forward to seeing that. Of course, Rivalry of Warlords and Goes In Match would have been very powerful cards against things like Branded in particular, because a lot of their fusion monsters have different types and attributes and such. So I think a lot of this list is very pro-branded, but we'll get to that in a moment. Bringing Raigeki up to 2. Raigeki, again, very powerful card that has been around since basically the dawn of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it finally going from Forbidden, then to Limited to 1, then to Semi-Limited. We may soon see a day where Raigeki is sitting at 3, and still nobody's gonna play it. But no, Raigeki's a really powerful card, but bringing it up to 2 is very interesting. But I would like to see that card see a little bit more play. It's kind of cool. Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. I don't really like that being brought up to 2, purely because the only effective way in which that's going to have any difference compared to how the card is currently used, which it's not, is someone developing some degenerate hand loop strategy. And hand looping is just... it's not fun for the other person, you know? It's still a 2-player game. It's not fun. I don't like it. So I'm not a fan of hand looping strategies, so I'm not a fan of them bringing Trishula up to 2, but I mean, I highly doubt it'll be effective anyway. Wind-up carriers in Melee, that is a huge thing for wind-up decks. I don't know a lot about wind-up decks, so I'm not gonna, you know, sort of talk nonsense when I don't know anything, but I know that that is a pretty big card inside that archetype, so it's nice to see that Wind-Up's getting a little bit of support, especially considering they don't exist in the metagame. I would imagine Zemiri was banned because of some broken combo or something like that, but I mean, it's nice to see Wind-Up's getting a little bit of love. Speaking of love, I love the ABC Dragon Buster, a really, really cool fusion monster. That is what the original Chaz deck should have been like. It's so powerful. I wish it was a 3. It being a 2 is still a major improvement. I am really looking forward to building a deck around that, to be honest. I'll have to see how it works out budget-wise, but I am for sure going to be gunning for that at some point soon. But we have so many decks to play, it's unreal. Trickstar late stage, Trickstars aren't that strong, so I don't mind them getting a buff. I'm just not a fan of Trickstars and their playstyle. Just slow burn, and no, I'm not big on it. Red Reboot, we've already talked about, it's going to be fantastic. Pankratops as well, coming up to 2, another staple for Blind Second. Raigeki, another staple for Blind Second. Red Reboot's going to help with Blind Second, so Blind Second's getting a lot of little buffs here, helping it out. Spiral Quick Fix. So Spiral is a really interesting deck. Every single time I go against it, I get cooked. Every single time. So, but that, again, I like Spiral. I just haven't taken the time to learn it, and I think that's going to be a very interesting deck here. So it getting a little buff, you know, that's pretty cool. You don't see it enough for it to be like a degenerate strategy. But speaking of degenerate strategies, I'm not a fan of the Double Iris Magician and the Harp Horror coming up to 2. I just don't want to, like, I just want my duels to be done in like a few minutes. I don't want to be scheduling out 3 to 5 business days just to deal with some boards that someone decides to set up. You know what I mean? They're not the most fun things to play against. They're not overwhelming in terms of their power. Like, you can beat them, it's fine, but they just take forever, you know, especially Orcust. I don't know enough about the, you know, magician pendulum sort of shenanigans going on there, so I'll probably be taught that very soon on the ladder. We'll see. But Orcust, nah, I'm good about it. We can cut that back down to 1 if you don't mind, Chief. And then these cards here being brought up to 3, ultimately I don't think are going to have much of an impact. But yeah, really, really cool list. The Crystron Hulk does hurt my soul a little bit, being forbidden, because there's a lot of strategies I would use that would employ that card, a lot of rogue strategies in particular. You know, people are coming at me saying that, oh, don't ban Predaplant Vertiana Conda because my rogue strategy needs it. Well, my rogue strategy needed Hulk. So, what are you gonna do? Such is life. We'll just have to find a new way of playing a lot of these decks, and again, there will be plenty of new ones coming out, so don't worry about that in the slightest. So really, really cool ban list. Honestly, again, as much as I'm complaining about Hulk, the rest of the ban list is really, really cool. They're opening up a lot of avenues that I didn't think they would. Speaking of avenues I didn't think they would, I didn't think they were going down the cheap road for festivals. So the third thing I wanted to talk about is the Synchro NX Seed Festival. Now, again, there's not much here that's super noteworthy. It's interesting that they bring out a whole selection pack based around Fusion. and then launch an event where you can't play fusions. I don't know about that one, Chief. I feel like a fusion Exceed festival would have been a bit cooler. I don't know. Thematically speaking, I know where they were going with the white against the black, but like, come on. I think this is a bit of a lazy design in terms of just festival design. I think it's a bit lazy. I think it's going to set a very poor precedent, because now this is sort of basically telling us that, oh, now we're going to get like a fusion in Exceed and fusion in Synchro, and it's just not great. It just means that they're setting a precedent where they can just like rip off these cheap little ideas, because this isn't going to bring anything that the Synchro and the Exceed festivals didn't. You know what I mean? Like, you're, for the most part, either playing Synchros or Exceeds. There's not a lot of decks that will cross them over, although one deck I do want to try in here is Blue Eyes, because that does make effective use of both. It's a very cool deck. It just got a bunch of new support, so I 100% will be testing out the Blue Eyes in this festival, assuming I have enough time. I've got a few days. So yeah, 100%. Cool, weirdly tanned with a big fusion drop, and lazy design overall. Very poor precedent they're setting up, but again, it's an event, it's gems. What are you gonna do? Complain? But yeah, basically that is a quick recap of everything that's changed. I know a few of the previous videos have been made slightly redundant by all of these changes, so hopefully this sets things into a bit of perspective, and ultimately we're looking to get absolutely pedal to the metal here in terms of getting content out. We're going to be doing plenty of new decks, plenty of revamping of old decks, some very cool strategies I have in mind, like some people were asking me about in the comments, stuff that I already sort of had in the back of my head, like fusion Thunder Dragons, like branded Thunder Dragons sounds cool, branded Buster Blader sounds cool. Doing a lot of Blue Eye stuff. We're going to see if we don't have Dragoon at the minute, but we may still be able to make like a branded Dark Magician work with the Dragon Knight for back row protection. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, lots of fun stuff coming up here. Really happy to be back here, back in the saddle, making videos again. Can't wait to get started. And yeah, hop into the Discord if you want to sort of get chatting to me or get chatting to anybody else personally, and you can leave your suggestions in the comments. Again, now that I'm back, I'll be getting around to every single one of them basically as soon as I can. So having said all of that, I'll see you in the next video very, very soon.